There we go.
Okay, Miss Lady, tell me everything about you that you would like to tell me so we can get to know each other a little bit better
Yeah.
as far as, where you started, where you are going, how you ended up where you are. Because one thing about healing and recovery is it's a journey. It's a
Absolutely.
transformation and a transition. So I just want to get to know you a little bit better.
Oh, right. And it's continual, isn't it? It's a never-ending process as well. Well, I'm originally from Los Angeles, born and raised. And my mother is from North Africa. She's from Morocco. Uh,
Oh,
she did pass a few years ago, while I was here, and she was in the States. She was in Henderson, Nevada, and that was very difficult because I felt I'm 7,000 miles away, right? And so I felt horrible for not being there. But my mother was very French coquette, beautiful, like too beautiful for this planet, right? And she came to America when it was they didn't like foreigners. They didn't like people speaking a different language, even though she spoke fluent French and Spanish. She spoke Spanish as well. But you know, my mom, she never wanted to get old. Like she didn't picture herself like as a grandmother. Like I'm gonna show you a picture real quick of her.
okay.
Let's see. This is her and I.
Oh wow, she looks like a woman that was adventurous and just lived a full life.
Like Sophia Loren, Cleopatra. That was her.
Yeah.
That was sort of her alter ego. I think was Cleopatra, but
Okay.
she didn't. She passed. She passed when she was, I think, 86, and so I had felt just horrible not being able to be there with her. And then I got my wife got me a session with Mitchell Coombs, who's a medium, and Mitchell did a session with me, connecting with my mom and whoever else wanted to come through. And my mom came through, and I knew it was her immediately, and I felt her. I have, to this day, whenever I talk to her, I feel her. And he said something that was really, it helped me a lot in the healing of that loss, which was profound because my mother was like, we talked all the time, and she always told me as I was growing up how much she loved me and how amazing I was. And so he said, your mother is telling me too that she knows that you wish you could be there, but that she went so quickly that even if you hopped on a plane, there was nothing you could do. And there's nothing you could do even if you were there. My mom went so quickly, immediately. She was speaking French to her best friend, who was also from Morocco, on the phone, laughing. She was all dressed up, ready to go to lunch. She had her makeup on, she had her hair done. So she was in a moment of just joy. And he said, "Do you understand that she knows that you wish you could be there, but there was nothing that you could do, and that she went the way she wanted to." And I said, "Yes, I'm very grateful for that. She wasn't languishing in a hospital. She wasn't in pain or any of that." And that's, I mean, I wish we all could go that way, just like,
Yeah.
here 1 minute and then, oh, okay. So, but I was, it was just such a hit to me. And through that session, though, I have to say, there was so much that gave me peace inside.
Mhm.
You know, when you lose someone close to you like that, it's shocking, and the fact that I feel her presence around me constantly. So it's a beautiful feeling to have. But yeah, I was a product of Los Angeles. 61 now, so I grew up in LA in the late 60s. Well, I was 64 was when I born, but I came into the world too when I was born. There was a lot of stuff that had happened. JFK assassination, Martin Luther King assassination, Malcolm X, Vietnam, all the stuff. And as a little kid, knew, I always knew, I was like, that does the story, the official story does not match up at all
Mhm.
with what I feel, right?
Yeah.
And what I can make out. And so I always felt, I kind of just felt like this person was almost like an alien. Like I felt like I came into this world and I was like, what is going on? Who are these people? What is happening? And I was a very sensitive, very shy kid. And so I was very aware of my, surroundings and all of that. But through the love and grace of my mom and my grandmother, both women that are so strong, they raised me and allowed me to have my own opinion. My mom allowed me to, she'd get ready for work because she was a single mom, had no money. My dad didn't give her no alimony or child support. And so she'd be getting ready to go to work and she'd put on her outfit and put her makeup on and stuff. And she said, how do I look? In her French Moroccan way. And I said, I stood there. I was like 4 or 5 years old. I remember standing there going, I don't think that those boots go with that outfit. I think you need to wear these, or maybe try this top. And you know what this grown woman did? She changed.
Oh,
She changed and she put on what I suggested. And she said, like, is this better? And I was like, oh, yeah, that's perfect. And so at a really young age, I got that verification that my opinion mattered.
yeah,
And that really set me for a whole course of, teaching, coaching, all of those different things. Where that if I see something, I can't help but say something. If somebody's doing something really good, if their website's amazing, if you know, the videos that they're creating, I have to like compliment them on that. But also if
yeah.
things are a little askew, so I'm that person that if I go to a restaurant and I see a painting on the wall or a picture and it's just a little off, I'm the one who gets up and walks over and straightens it out. Right.
You sound like me.
What
That's
sign are
those.
you? What sign are
I'm a
you?
Gemini. I'm a Gemini.
Are you a Gem? I'm a Scor. I have 5 planets in Scorpio. So
Yeah, I'm a Gemini.
maybe you have some Scorpio too in you.
Yeah, I like
Your
to.
moon.
I like the puzzles. I feel
Mm.
like everything is like these jigsaw puzzles and these small puzzles that end up going into like these big puzzles and things like that. And I was always very eclectic. I say that's the word I would use for me. I've always been about knowledge, and that's the one thing about Geminis. We
Mm.
are absolutely about knowledge. We are about truth, but not all, but at the same time, if we wanted to be very destructive, we could be. But we always think before we act, and we're like, okay, there has to be some reason for it, rhyme or reason. Now, I'm not saying every Gemini because you have the ones in June and then you have the ones in May. So there's
Yeah.
two. And I always say for every month, there's always 2 months within every sign. So every sign is different depending
Yeah.
on what month you're born. My mom is a Cancer. She's one of them loving, caring people that's about, I want to take care of everybody, but they don't take, dealing with negativity so well. So I
Yeah.
can't go to her and say, I'm going through this. She's like, I don't want to
Ah.
hear that. I don't care. No, we're not going to do that. There's a light at the end of the tunnel somewhere. That's always been her philosophy. It's a light at the end of the tunnel. I don't care what you go through. No, she said, because as soon as you hear that negativity, then you end up having to accept it. And then you have to end up saying, but I told her, I said, my mom, negativity is kind of a way of life. She's like, I don't care. No,
Oh
no,
my God.
no,
And
I'm not
cancers are
letting it
very
go.
much about the home too.
Yeah, they
Very,
are.
they're like
Yeah.
that's their nest. That's their space.
Mhm.
But they're a
Yeah.
water sign, so yeah. And your mom could be depending on what other signs are, like her moon, which is our emotions, right?
Yeah.
Because I've met some, yeah, and I've met some Scorpios before, and I'm like, oh damn, like, like it's a great responsibility when you know you have the tools that could very easily, you could inflict harm on somebody just by the
Yeah.
words. It's by the words. It's not physical.
Yeah.
But then there's a great responsibility by saying, you know what, I don't need to bring a bazooka to a knife fight, right?
Yeah.
I can let it go. That Frozen song is so good.
Yeah. My
But
friend, she's a Scorpio too. And people's like, well, how in the world can a Scorpio and a Gemini be friends? We're yin and yang. She brings out the fun in me. She brings out that side of me
yeah,
that's like more so fun and more so, being self aware and putting myself first. And I give her that sense of calmness of the realistic part is look, I know you spoiled, you used to getting everything that you want, but you can't always have everything that you want. So we balance each other out because it's like, our friendship is we accept each other for who the other is, and we don't expect anything. Like I don't use her, she don't use me, nothing like that. But it took years for us to understand each other because she would get mad about the simplest things, and I would like, but I was sick. then she find out later, and she's like, why didn't you tell me? How can I overtalk you? I said,
right.
you're just rah 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 rah, and I'm the calm one. I'm just sitting here like
hmm
I'm just waiting for you to finish. So then when she finally, because we didn't speak for 8 years, and finally
Oh
she
wow.
like, yeah, because she thought I told her I said, not only was I sick, I lost my job and been sick for years, and because of that one situation that happened in November, I said I've been sick ever since. They gave me the wrong medication. She's like, oh. Then it was, why didn't you tell me? I said, I tried. You said you didn't want to be friends with me anymore. What did you want me to do? Because
Oh
she's not used to somebody that's like, I accept things for what they are. And if that's the way you feel, there's no amount of an explanation I would have given you at that
yeah,
time
yeah,
that you would have understood at the time. She's gotten
yeah,
better since then. But that's the thing about it. You have your earth signs, your water signs, your air signs, and yeah, we're all different. But at the same time, some signs balance each other out and some just cannot have
yeah,
anything to do with each other at all.
yeah, yeah. I find Capricorns a little. They got the you know that thing when you have the whites of your eyes show sambuku or something. I don't forget the name
Yeah.
of it. They get
Yeah.
because they have gonna have a temper. My dad was a Capricorn man, and he just oh like crazy temper. But Geminis though, you're really good communicators. And
Mm-hmm.
you have the ability to be great writers as well and very
Yeah.
creative. You
Yeah.
know, I think I've back about my brother's a Gemini and he's very creative. He can't do he can't do other things that are not super creative. It just it kills his soul, right? Hold
It
on.
feels weird.
My puppy is chewing a piece of wood and I don't. Can you please stop that, my darling? Kelly, come here. Do you want to say? Come here. Okay, fine. I was gonna see if she wanted to say hi, but she's being a puppy.
It feels weird when we're not doing something that we love. It just feels like we feel trapped.
Yeah, yeah.
We feel
And
trapped.
so what do you do? What do you do other than having your podcast? What do you do?
I am trying to do something where I am trying to help people with healing and recovery from the actual correct way of doing it. And not just, I'm not on this temporary solutions anymore. I was in 2 car accidents in 1998,
Oof.
got into one accident, left the hospital and got into another one back to back. Haven't been the same since. Haven't wasn't able to walk. Um, I've had, issues with family. I've had issues with romantic relationships, friendships, and things like that. And I was that people pleaser, that seat filler. Everybody laughs when I say Captain Save a Hoe, that build a doll and that, seat filler and that people pleaser for years. And that's because, like you said, trying to feel in that you want to be loved and you want to be accepted, but the way society is, it's like you can't be.
Mm,
You have to be what everybody else wants and what everybody expects you
mm,
to be. And it starts from your parents. So I saw this thing with Oprah Winfrey yesterday, no, day for yesterday. And she was talking about no contact with family, as far as parents, and no contact with children. But it was primarily children. And people said, well, what about the parents don't have any contact with their kids? I said that could be multiple different reasons. And so I talked about the invisible child versus the golden child, which is something we don't talk about. And when I tell you, I had so many people sending, writing in the comments about their experiences of being that invisible child or that golden child that's now upset because the parents are switching roles. It was amazing. And so, through my journey, I learned that, you know, when I was a child that was the invisible. I was the one that I knew right from wrong. But because I wanted to be a part of the world, and I used the Matrix, for example, I went down the red pill instead of staying
mhm,
down the blue pill.
mhm.
And people said, why do you not choose the red pill? I said, if you went through what I went through, you wouldn't want to. And I said, if you look at the fourth installment of the Matrix, you saw him go down trying to save Trinity's life. In the end, he said, I could have went down the blue pill and not went through all of this and still saved her life because you're
Right,
going in a circle.
right,
When as a blue pill, the answer's already there. So you can pick and choose your battles and do it where you don't have to go through the violence. You
right,
don't have to go through the negativity, but you'll
right.
still end up in the same place, just
Right.
not with the same chaos.
Not
And
same
so,
chaos. Right.
saying chaos and destruction. And so, when I got sick, everybody abandoned me. All the people that I was taking care of, all the people, people coming in and out of my life saying, oh, you're a sweet person, you're a nice person after you sucked the life out of me like a vampire. God was like, I'm going to sit you down.
Mm,
I'm tired of seeing you suffer. I'm going to sit you down. And it took me being having medical issues for me to understand mentally the damage I was doing to myself. Some people don't have the damage that is physically in the way of someone else.
yeah.
Sometimes it can be just as simple as you want something so bad and what you're willing to do and what you're willing to destroy. And you don't even realize you destroy your finances, you destroy your yourself as far as your internal health. And it took me being sick in a hospital and the doctor telling me there's nothing wrong, kicking me out of a hospital. 8 hours later, going to another hospital for me to say, wait a minute. Doctor was like, no, you have not only two bulging discs in your back, but your blood is not running through your body like it's supposed to. 2018, I had issues with anxiety. One day I got hit in the back of the neck, was on my way home, and I was doing Adam and Eve from a different perspective and got in the car. Next thing I know, I had a panic attack out of nowhere.
Wow.
Tried, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to get home. I was literally on 5 minutes away. Next thing I know, I couldn't drive ever since. And I said, why can't I drive? And so my doctor said, um, your mind and your body are not connecting. I said, what do you mean? Your eyes are not you're mentally, you're like, I can do this. Your body can't. Your
Right.
body has been through so much pain, so much hurt, so much devastation that your body's in fear
Right. Right.
and it shut down. And so when that happened, it was a wake-up call. And for 7 years, that's where my journey really began. 7 years after that. Finding permanent solutions, not learning to love myself, my insecurities, my flaws, losing my hair at 13. Um, just the domestic violence, the sexual assault. I wouldn't deal with it. I would act like it didn't
Cut yourself
happen.
off. Yeah.
Yeah, I would act like it didn't happen. And I would let people hurt me. And then I was like, wait a minute. And then that's when I realized what the doctor was trying to tell me. He says post-traumatic slave disorder.
Mm.
And I said, what is that? You have been a slave since you were a kid. You've been conditioned to just being a servant.
Wow.
Your feelings didn't matter, your wants didn't matter, and now your body is paying for it. You're
Mm.
now feeling all of that. That's all of that. Everything that you compressed has been compressing your body. Now your body is used to it. And now your body's like, no, I can't take any more hurt from anybody else.
Right.
So that 7 years of being alone, it was the best thing that I could have done, because not only did I heal, I built myself. And now my body feels completely different, because now I realize now my mind is finally feeling my body. And I was asking God, because when my neck started having issues, that's when I really felt it. When it was hard for me to swallow, I thought it was a thyroid issue. When that pain, because it started from here, then it went just up and now it's here. When I started feeling the neck pain, that's when that connection changed. And that's when it was like, I didn't even realize my body was going through so much pain internally, that I was
Yeah.
destroying myself in such a way. I am killing myself trying to be this people pleaser.
Oh,
I'm killing myself trying to make everybody else happy and putting stuff in my name that I should have never did. I don't get the benefits of none of this. Going through chasing after somebody that doesn't want me. You wouldn't think that this stuff would do damage to your body, but it
oh yeah.
does.
No.
It does.
Just a
So yeah,
single thought. A single thought. And I've learned that that when we talk to our body, when we speak out loud, oh, I'm too old, I'm too this, I'm too that, oh, I look ugly, I look all of that, especially when we speak it out loud, when we think it, the cells they're listening, they're constantly listening, every cell. And I've had a couple times where I've had like a little couple scares, like I felt like a little thing. I go, oh, I know what that is. I know. And when I'm able to communicate with it and not be taken into fear, but to say, I see you,
yeah,
I understand, and I see you, but you're not required at this moment for my learning. Like
yeah,
I'm good. I'm good.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
And that is profound, because we are actually, I think, we've never been taught. Religion and society has just stomped it out of us. But
yeah.
we are magicians of the highest order. We are creators of, because we are created from the creator,
Yes.
right? So we
And we're
can
not
work
able to
miracles.
create.
Yes.
And we're not able to create because we're being what everybody else wants to be. Yeah.
We're being what everybody else, and we have wired in us the prehistoric thing of, I have to assimilate, and I have to make everybody else happy. I have to pretend that I'm in the same thing, because if not, we'll get kicked out of the cave.
Yeah.
And if we get kicked out of the cave, then there's death, right? You're gonna
Yeah.
starve. The dinosaurs are gonna eat me. Gonna freeze to death or whatever. So we have that thing of, I have to get along, even though if I don't agree with these people in this cave. What we don't realize is that there's a lot of caves.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different caves, but
Mhm.
if all you know is that one cave, you're born in it, you're raised in it, and you think that's the whole world.
Yeah.
And it's so important when you have that moment where you go, there's other caves, or I could build my own damn cave, right?
That part. Yes.
And that's what
Absolutely.
you found. And
Hmm.
with your neck, you said, did you say you had bulging discs in your neck?
It was in my back, and
Oh, it
now
was in
it's
your
like
back.
this. It was in my back, but then now it was like I ended up having something going on with my neck where there's this pain right here. And I remember Miss Shonda, she was a shaman as well. She said that it was something that was like really causing me a lot of pain. And it is better now than what it was when she did. But she said she had to relinquish all that. She said, "Girl, do you have any idea how much baggage you got on you?" She said,
Oh,
"That's why you hurting." And she had to literally remove it. And it was like it felt like a thorn that was in my neck. Every once in a while it still comes back, but it's not as bad as what it was because it was to the point I couldn't swallow. It was really messing with my anxiety really, really bad. And people don't believe that anxiety is not physical. I said, yes, it is.
oh yeah. No, it
Physical,
is.
physical, it's the last resort when mentally you don't think something's wrong. Your body is the one that reacts, but mine is the opposite. It's like mentally, it hits me mentally first before it hits me physically. And when it hits me physically, I react later. And people don't realize there are people that are thinkers that don't react to their emotions. And because they don't just react. It's not until you have that from 1 to 10. And I tell people, emotions, as far as the levels, is from 0 to 10. Some people don't hit 10 automatically. Some people hit 10, it takes them a while to hit 10. And when they hit 10, ain't no calming them down, ain't no nothing. They're really sick and tired because they have so much pain balled up that they lash out, which is why you have so many abusers, because you have abusers that some of them are emotional abusers, some of them are mental abusers, what happens over time. But either way it go, you have abused people that become abusers and some people that are just abusers.
Hurt
So
people hurt people. Yeah.
yes.
Um, another thing too that I've come to the realization with throughout, and this is by observance, right? When I was talking about my father, who's Capricorn, he was also an alcoholic. And what I've noticed at a very young age, I was able to see this, that when he would consume the spirits, right? When he would
Yeah.
consume alcohol, he would he would change. The
Yeah.
look, the face, the structure, the it's almost like something had overcome him, almost like possessed him. And I believe that when people I mean I love sake. I'm a sake drinker, right? So I can have sake. I love dirty martinis,
Yeah.
but I can have one or two of them and I'm good, right? I
Mm-hmm.
don't drink to bury my emotion or to bottle up an emotion or to cover a wound. I don't drink to do that. But what I noticed with people like my father, but other people as well, is that when they've consumed that alcohol or the spirits, they open themselves up. There's portals that are all over themselves. And
Yeah.
you've got entities and spirit all around.
Mm-hmm.
And when we have that armor or that light around us, and we're like, nah, unless you're good and beautiful, you're not coming in here. When you do that, and probably through drugs as well, drugs or alcohol, you open it
Yeah.
up and you can have attachments, you can have entity attachments on you that come in
Mm-hmm.
because it's like it's like, oh, this is an opening. We can come in. And
Yeah.
I swear I've seen it. I've seen it on people. I've seen it completely changed, completely changed. The eyes changed, the facial structures changed, everything. It's like a possession.
Yeah.
And then if we're empathic, we're all, I want to help you. I love you. Right. And if you're a child,
And
I love you. Show me that you love me. I love you.
yeah.
Then we get those spirits through that person and they can also
Mm-hmm.
attach to us
Yeah.
because as children
Exactly.
we're wide open,
Mm-hmm.
we're suggestible, we believe what we see at early
Yeah.
ages, right? And then that's how we
Mm-hmm.
form our whole existence through life.
Yeah.
I
And then
think
we
what
end up taking it on. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then that creates other problems. That's the funny thing about people who do a lot of alcohol and drugs is they create more problems. They're drinking
Mm-hmm.
or drugging to get away from the problem or to stifle it, to numb it, the pain.
Mm-hmm.
But then it creates other problems.
Yeah.
in order for them to drink or do drugs about.
Yeah.
My family left me. My wife left me. You know, my kids left. Oh, well, yeah, because because you're chaos.
Yeah. It's
So
about getting to
how is your
that.
neck now? How does your neck feel now?
It has its ups and down days. It's like the pain, I have chronic pain, so it shifts from one place to another. Like today is a good day. It's getting better because again, I, I kind of realized that sometimes I think that's God telling me, okay, I need you to go in a different direction. So when I do something that I feel that God don't want me to do, I'll feel pain and I'm like, okay, this is just telling me I need to do something else. But yeah, it's getting better than
Do you
what it
have
was.
did you have x-rays done?
Yeah. Um, they said they couldn't find anything, but they did say that they noticed swelling in my neck area and stuff. And so it has gotten better because I've been working on it. I cut down on a lot of the stuff that I used to do. And so I really cut down on it. And I really like cut down on it very, very much so. And like I don't eat a lot of like it was to the point where when it came to like processed foods, I can't eat it anymore.
No, no.
I don't know if it's the chemicals in it now, but it's a lot of stuff I can't eat no more because of the chemicals they're putting in it to make it last longer, which was also a journey that I went on. And that's what made me start doing the podcast because it was like, I need answers. I can't understand why I'm going to the doctor and I'm keep having these, issues and things like that. What in the world is going on? Why am I having these issues? Why these doctors can't tell me anything? But yet you had doctors overseas that are telling me, people going overseas and they're getting answers and they're getting a whole long list of stuff that is wrong. And then, watching people die. And I had a friend of mine, she passed away. Well, she's a little older than me. And I looked at her like a big mama. And she was half deaf and half blind. And she was going to the doctor every 30 days. And yet and still they didn't tell her she had cancer. She ended up in the emergency room. They told her she had 12 weeks to live. She died in two.
Wow.
And we were trying to get her to the cancer center, trying to get her help, and yeah, she's no longer here, and they had to bury her. And then when I heard about the way they buried her, I was upset because I was like, "Who does this to your own mama?" I mean, it's just like when people die, and I'm looking at all like my uncle just died, my mother's friend just died, my godmother she just died, and I'm just looking at what did they leave in the world? What
Mm,
legacy did they leave?
right.
No, they worked their whole entire life, and the only thing they have is whatever possessions they have, and then it's a question of is his wife going to keep everything? Is the kids going to keep everything? Luckily, his wife and kids are not where they're possessive like that or anything like that. They had a great relationship that I know of. But then in other situations, you build a business, you build a brand, you're thinking your kids are going to run it, they're going to sell it. They're not going to keep everything that you provided for them
Yeah.
because you didn't teach them the importance of maintaining that
Right.
business. So
Right.
when I started doing coaching, I said it's not going to be about obtaining things more so than it is about maintaining what I have,
Yeah.
maintaining the success, maintaining my health issues. Whatever I did to change my health to where I lost 21 pounds, I'm going to continue to do it. That
Yeah.
don't mean that I ain't going to backslide occasionally. Doesn't mean that because
No.
with the
No.
body is either, yeah, the body is either going to adjust, it's either going to adapt, it's either going to not like it, it's going to reject it, or it's
And
going
yeah,
to,
and now you'll
and
know really quickly too what feels good and what doesn't. One thing that that's beginning to help me as well because I also I have a overload of histamine
Mm,
intolerance, and
yeah.
all the different things that, like, all the, always looking for different answers. But for me, it makes sense, this histamine thing. And the foods
Hmm.
that you could be thinking that you're eating healthy, right? I would have salads with like avocado and tomato and you know things things that you think, fruit like strawberries and stuff like that, they're all histamine producing, mass histamine producing.
Yeah.
you know Also coffee. I mean, now I'm going to decaf, even though I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
but but caffeine or coffee, like, produces mass histamine, and it's your body's way of fighting off an invader. I've had
Hmm.
skin issues from it. I've had weight, like, huge, like a weight gain that's just unbelievable. But it's my
Yeah.
body fighting off, and the inflammation and the parasites and all of that stuff. And
Yeah.
when you start also, like, even just switching to certain things of going, you know what? Every now and then I love chocolate. And every now and
Yeah.
then I'm like, I gotta have me a piece of chocolate. But now I realize that chocolate is a huge histamine producer. So if
Yeah.
I do that, then I'm going to say I'll take an antihistamine or something like that and be able to enjoy that piece of chocolate. But I can't
Yeah.
but I can't do it every night. I can't do chocolate every single night, which is what I usually
Yeah.
like to do, laying in bed. I like to have a little piece of chocolate right before I go to sleep, right? So then I wake
Yeah.
up and my whole body is like on fire.
Yeah.
So and we if just check it out. You can for free. You can go on the internet and look at um high histamine foods, look
Hmm.
at low histamine foods, and compare the two, and you'll go, but I thought that was healthy.
Yeah. Hmm.
I did One thing that, and it totally, like, an alarm bell went off. It said, the important thing of having fresh, so, fresh chicken, fresh white fish, um, certain vegetables and things. And it said, don't eat the leftovers that you put in the fridge. As
Yeah.
soon as you put the food in the fridge, it starts producing histamine.
Yeah.
So it could be fine. You could have eaten it last night and you felt great. You know, you had turkey burger and rice or whatever and vegetables. Well, the next day, that healthy, delicious, non-histamine food turns into a histamine nightmare.
Yeah.
Tastes the
I'm gonna turn
same.
the light. I'm gonna turn the light on, but keep talking. I'm still
Yeah,
listening.
yeah, it's all right. But that's the thing, is that when we start listening to you know, we start listening to our bodies and doing a little bit of research, I think it can help us in so many different ways. So many different ways.
I agree because that's the one thing about what makes coaching for me in healing, recovery, and addiction is getting to the root cause of it. And
Yeah,
that's something we don't do in therapy. We don't get to the root cause of it.
yeah.
And I tell people I think coaches are needed along with therapists because coaching is more so the action of it. The
Mm.
action of what the therapist is telling you. So if a therapist is telling you that you have this particular, like that doctor told me, post traumatic slave disorder. My son has autism. If I wasn't someone that wasn't about results, I would have just been stuck on, oh my God, my child's autistic. Oh my
Yeah.
God, my child has disability. What am I gonna do? Me, I was like, no, we need to figure this out. We need to, you know, I it was 1998 when we found out he had autism. He's
How
like
old is
two
he
and a
now?
half. 29. Be 30 this year.
Um, um, what level? Like communicative, or like is able to communicate well with you, or?
He was nonverbal at first.
Oh,
He
wow.
communicates, but it's like hard because he can say, Mommy, I want this, Mommy, I want that. He can say some sentences, but conversation wise, it's kind of like
Oh, yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the nonverbal. He's like mild, between mild and moderate right now.
Our
But
son is
he's not,
autistic as well. Yeah.
but he's not behavioral. And people was like, what did you do? Well, number one, I didn't put the label on him because I never told him. Number two, I accepted it and cried, and then I said,
Now what?
let's go. Let me do some research on what this is. Let me figure out, and when I took him to therapy, and that's what changed my perspective on that. And that's when now that I'm a coach, the one thing he taught me is everybody's minds are different.
Uh-huh.
That in the mind, the body, some people are good physically more so than mentally. Some people are more so mental than physical. And some people are the combination of both. And he taught me patience. He taught me that it's okay not to be perfect. It's okay to just be. And so now, like when he gets in trouble or something happened when he was a kid, it was like I remember he ran. I walked out the door, told my friend's boyfriend to watch him. He wasn't even paying no attention. We walked right literally next door to the next door. He walked out because daycare was literally across the street from a train. He was determined to get to that train. When we went back, and not even 5 minutes later, he was gone. That's how, just that quickly, he was gone. We're running around. The kids said he went out the neighborhood. Luckily, he found him, but he was on the train. He was on a bus. The bus said we can't let him off until the police get here. I said, sir, we already called the police. The police haven't shown up yet. Never came. Finally, 3 hours later, they came. He's going back and forth on the bus, having a good old time. The bus is pissed off. I'm pissed off. And the police was like, she already called the police. And they was like, the bus driver, where were you? Why weren't you here helping her find her child? And so they let him off the bus and everything because I had ID. And I was really upset. And, I was like, and so I told him, I said, look, I had to calm down before I went in there and talked to him. I said, look, you could have been seriously hurt.
Yeah.
Somebody could have ran you over. And I said, I know you don't exactly understand what I'm saying, but there are consequences and repercussions to your actions. That stuck with me. And I said, you know what? That's where I'm going to start. Behavior. I'm going to start there.
Yeah.
I don't care nothing about the educational part because he got a whole lifetime to learn from that. And I think every parent needs to understand that. They have a whole lifetime to learn whatever. But
Yeah.
consequences and repercussions and karma should be the first thing that they are taught. Because
Yeah.
now I ask him, who was you with? What did they say to you to influence you to do something? Why did you go against what I told you to do what these other people told you to do?
Yeah.
And he'll look at me and he's like, I don't know. So if you don't know, why didn't you come to me and talk to me about it before you did it? And I said, you can talk to me about anything. And that's when I realized, I said, I'm not your best friend, sweetheart. I'm your mother. I am your provider. I am your driver. I am your therapist. I'm your psychologist. I'm your teacher.
Your chef.
I'm your chef. I'm your sugar mama, whatever you want to call it. I said, but the most put out together, I am your mother. And I said, you scare me. Everything I do is to protect you
Yeah.
because I am scared of how the world is going to treat you. I am scared about how people are going to manipulate and bamboozle you. And I told him, I said, I'm not going to get upset because the fact your feelings are hurt. I want you to cry. I want you to express your feelings. But
Yeah,
there
that's
is
good.
one time, but there is one time that I will never accept it. And that is if you do something wrong, then there are consequences.
Right.
You're going to take every single solitary consequence, repercussion, and karma that there is.
Yeah.
And I said, I will not bail you out. I'm going to leave you there because I am not going to bail you out. I'm not going to protect you if you've done something wrong. But if you're in the right, I am going to fight for you. And I've stuck by that because I've seen so many domestic violence where, or regardless of what it is, where that golden child gets bailed out and the parents are now in debt.
Yeah.
You
No.
have a child that's unaliving their parents because
Yeah.
they
No.
wanted what they wanted. And I said, no, I'm not going to
Can,
bail you out to put your hands on a woman. I'm not going to bail you. I'm going to leave you there.
can you hold on 1 second? I'm gonna turn. I have the air on because it was hot. Now I'm freezing. Hold on.
Yeah, yeah, it's fine. So I will say that, for those of y'all that are going to be hearing this, it may sound cold, but it's not, because you got a lot of parents that are leaving this earth because of their kids and because of that golden child syndrome of you giving your children everything they want and they didn't earn it and they didn't deserve it.
Yeah.
So sometimes you got to do that tough love and say, look, when it comes to somebody hurting your feelings and it's not your fault, yeah, I'll be there for you through thick and thin. But I'm not going to bail you out or be there if you did something that is, in fact, your fault. Now, sometimes it can be a situation where that's why I say that's one thing I guess God gave me the child that He gave me, because I'll look into it and I'm gonna do my research before I just say I'm just gonna walk away from my child. But if there's no question, ands, is, buts, maybe about it, he gonna take everything that come with that. Cause those are the consequences. I said no differently than my parents did. My parents was like, you lay down and had this baby, you gonna raise this baby. These are your consequences. I'm not taking on your consequences.
Right.
No. Especially if they
Right.
helped you out especially if they helped you out multiple times and you still keep doing the same thing you've been doing. Why would I continue to bail you out?
Right. Well, because then you're setting somebody up for a lifetime of that. They'll be
Mhm.
50, 60 years old and still asking you to bail them out. That doesn't
Yeah,
change. That doesn't change unless you have that independence.
yeah, that's true. And
That's something I think that's really important. Is yes, is to say, you know what, I love you, I love you, I love you. But
mhm,
at this point, especially when they're an adult, but we are responsible for your actions and your reactions,
mhm.
because that's when people usually mess up or get into trouble. It's the reaction to something.
Yeah, and then the behavior and the choices and the decisions are the ones that will be impacted because you're making choices based on, and that's why I said the one thing that I ask my son all the time, do you want a girlfriend? He's like, no. Like, why? I don't want one. And I mean it, and I'm completely okay with that. Because I mean, again, the way that I ask myself, do we really raise our kids considering we're not around them 24/7? And I have this, and I know it's kind of crazy. People said, what do you think about when you think about infidelity? I said, platonically. I said, I don't care if it's my mom, my dad. I don't care if it's my husband, my wife, or friends or jobs. I said infidelity is not sexual. Infidelity is James Scott Farron. I want what I want, and if you're not going to give it to me, somebody else gonna give it to me.
Mm.
And I don't care who I all have to go through to get it, then I'm going to do that. And what made me think about that was when I used to hear a lot of my exes as to why they cheated, why the adultery was involved. And it was like, well, I saw this girl and I wanted her, and oh, okay. So then I realized infidelity, and then I thought about it with my son when he wanted a PlayStation 5 and he broke his PlayStation 4. And I said, I'm not paying for it. And I meant it.
Oh,
Granddaddy went and got it. And I said,
he
this
broke.
is, I said, Daddy, I just said no. He said, well, I bought it for him. I said, you just went against everything that I said when I told him no. And then I realized, oh my God, my child just committed infidelity towards me. And then I realized that when it comes to our kids, when they rebel, it's like when you say no, they're going to find somebody to give it to them no matter what. And I said, no, this explains. And then I realized that relationships in general, regardless if they're platonic, if they're family, if they're friends, if it's your job, if it's your spouse, I said, these are all the same type of relationships except the sex part. There's nothing else different between any of them. I said, I am married.
Except yes, but except one thing, except men are built differently.
Yeah.
They're born they're born and raised with every very this is a very important thing. And I need to share it everywhere I can because uh, I learned that a long time ago. When I was dating men like many years eons ago, every single one of them, every single one of them. And the thing that was so mind fucky was that they were like, "Oh, I love you. You know, you're the only one for me." Blah 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 blah. And then they'd have side action, and I'm like, oh, Christine, don't play that. You're gone.
That part.
You're gone. Like, how dare you? And you could be giving them the sun, moon, rising, everything. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
interesting species.
yeah. And that's when I realized I said, so infidelity is not just about romantic relationships. And I said, hmm. Because then I was like thinking about my friends that are no longer my friends now and jobs. And I remember in August, I lost my job because they said they weren't going to fire us and will let us out, let us go. And then they told us that they let us go because of, you know, they just took our whole entire position away. I said, this still feels like infidelity because you made promises that you didn't keep. And then they was like, you're very calm about this. I said, the reason I'm so calm about it is because I've had the rug pulled from I said, sir, no offense, but I've had the rug pulled from up under me so many times. I'm immune to it at this point. I said, because if I really get upset, then it really isn't worth it. And it isn't really worth the time and the energy. And
And
then
and the impact on your health.
that part. And that's when I started sitting in my room when I lost my job. I just sat there because I was really, the one thing about being a Gemini, we can be very indecisive because we want everything to be perfect. And when we get frustrated, we just move on to something else. And I said to myself, this is an addiction that I gotta break. I said, I gotta break this indecisiveness. I, I got to stop when things get hard, just saying, you know what, I'm gonna stop doing it. Cause that broke me. And I realized that some of these addictions that we have are not necessarily just drugs, alcohol, and codependency or sex. There are other addictions that I didn't think were addictions that I have found that were. And one was love. I said, love is an addiction. Being liked is an addiction. Appreciated, valued, wanted, needed to be a part of something, to be validated, to be approved of, for somebody to know your, me appreciated, me accepted, for somebody to know your worth and prove something to somebody. To be capped and save a hoe, build a barrel, build a dog, see fields, and people please. I
Mhm.
realized those were my addictions. And I was like, how in the world did I not know this, that these were addictions? And so as I was reading the Bible and realizing what love really represented, I said, none of these people really love me at all. I love them. I thought love was giving. I thought being a godly person was, you know, the way that the story of Jesus was told, Jesus was helping so many people. But then I read the encounter of him and the devil, and not no way, regardless of what Jesus did, he never ever conformed. Job didn't conform. I'm just sitting here like this whole entire time I've been conforming
Yeah, right.
to people that God didn't even send me. I realized that as a godly person, I'm not supposed to be chasing after anything.
No,
I'm just supposed to put something, put it into work into the world. And he said in one scripture, you put it into the world, the people will come.
that's that's the human design. That's for projector.
Yeah,
Have you done your human design? Have you figured out what your human design character is?
slowly. I have the ability to see things before they happen. I have this, and I've been scared of it, honestly.
Hmm.
I have not been wrong yet about anything that I see. And I tell people, I can't tell you when. I can only tell you what
Yeah.
and who. I can't tell you who. I can just tell male or female. And I've always had it since I was a kid. And I remember I told my ex before he passed away in a car accident, I told him, don't leave. I said, I don't think you're going to make it back. He didn't listen. He ain't here. He's dead. And that scared me because I had people, I've had people spiritually tell me, you're a prophet. I said, what? You're a prophet. You have the ability to see things before they happen. And I said, no. And at first I didn't want to accept it. But it was like everything I have told people, I ain't been wrong yet. One of my girlfriends, I told her ex go end up getting another girl pregnant. Sure enough, he did. I told one guy the last words his mother ever said to him before before she died. And I didn't know them for nothing. And I've had people come to me and say, how in the world did you know that? I said, I have the ability to see things. I had it since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I said that, I never had anybody to help me to understand it. I still have it. I just don't say nothing. But, I learned that some people don't really want the truth. They want the version of it that they want. And you're not going to get that version the way that you want. So I tell people all the time, you're not going to get the version that you want. It's either
Yeah.
you want the truth or you want a lie. And I always say a lie can be a truth and a truth can be a lie. But I'm still, slowly figuring it out.
Use that for your business. I I work intuitively, although I don't market myself as a psychic at all. But I
Mm,
half of coaching, even though I'm doing some technical things, right? Working with people on technical things and creating media kits and getting them booked on podcasts or whatever. But half of it is therapy, okay?
mm-hmm.
Getting them over their a little bit of imposter syndrome and their lack of confidence, helping them with that. But also I work intuitively, and so when I if I have something that I see or hear, it's not even it's not, you don't visually see it and you don't
Yeah,
auditorily hear it. It's a thought that comes in or a burst. I'll say it. I'll say it when it's relating to, of course, when it's relating to my clients,
yeah,
and they'll go, "Oh my God," there's always that recognition of, "Oh my God, I can't believe you said that because I just was looking into this or I've always wanted to do that." But also, if you want to hone in those skills and get better at it, I have some great connections. I have some people that can help you with that. Embrace that gift that you have. I think
yeah.
as children, we all have that gift. It's beaten
Mm-hmm.
out of us, it's schooled out of us, it's religioned out of us,
Mm-hmm.
right? Don't
Yeah.
talk to those imaginary characters. Don't act weird, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I
But you
would
need that.
You need that. It's our superpower. It's our like we're
Mm-hmm.
like Iron Man and Wonder Woman and we've got these superpowers and we are capable of so much more. We've just been pushed down and pushed down and pushed down for so long.
Yeah.
And the structures are all breaking free, by the way. You know that. They're all falling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hollywood,
Mm-hmm.
the music industry,
Yep.
um, it's all and everything. The veil is getting thinner. I can see things now. Like if I see a news report, I'm like, that's not true.
Mm-mm.
That's a setup.
Mm-hmm.
This whole thing that's happening in America right now with the
Yeah.
National Guards. I'm like, that's not right. That's
Mm-mm.
not right. And where the hell is Brittany? Because that ain't Brittany. That ain't Brittany.
Mm-mm.
Sorry. I know I've seen her. That's not her. It's a
Mm-mm.
poor dear who's playing a role, you know?
Yep.
So all
Living
that
a
stuff
lie.
is fallen, and some people are gonna be like, yes, I knew it, and now it's a new day, and we can create something new. And then other people are attached to that old world, and they're gonna
Yep.
lose their marbles.
Yep.
They're
I,
gonna spin out.
mm-hmm. I agree.
So we just got to be here just to like help them.
Yep. And I agree. And that's what made me become a coach because I realized that through this journey of healing and recovery, I realized it's not a 1 day, 6 weeks after having a baby. It ain't you break a
Mm-mm,
leg, it's 6 weeks to get better. No.
mm-mm.
There's factors of healing and recovery that are not being discussed because people don't really know. I feel like that the reason that people are dying is because it's $1 billion business in misery. It's $1 billion
Yeah,
business in people dying. It's $1 billion business in the sex industry. It's $1 billion business in divorces. It's $1 billion business in, I
trafficking.
mean, trafficking. It's $1 billion business in car accidents. It's $1 billion business in just our self destruction. And when they feel like it's an over population or oversaturation, here we are.
Yep.
So yeah, once you start,
S-
and that's why I said it goes right back to that red pill and that blue
Yeah,
pill. The blue
yeah.
pill is like, look, just look. I'm just gonna sit still.
Oh, you could be like, what was the woman in the Matrix in the first one, the seer or the one that
Yeah.
what's her name? What was her? Oh,
Oh my God, I have to go back and watch. It starts with a C. I can't remember her name though. Off the
yeah,
gate.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, yeah,
I like that. Why not utilize some of that? Because it's a collective, it's a popular thing that people can relate to.
yeah.
So
And
when I
that's what
tell
I'm.
my stories, I always tell, like, if I'm trying to bring home a point, I bring home the
Mhm,
point of, like, as coaches, we tend to want to force people for our products or our services, and
mhm.
we putting it out there for stuff that people that we want to give them, but that the people don't need.
Yeah.
And so I'll do the analogy of a stapler and a sandwich, and I'll say,
Mhm.
you keep pushing a stapler. I want to. This is the stapler's the best thing. You know, and it's 50% off Black Friday sale. 50% off the
Mhm.
stapler. How come nobody's buying my stapler? I must be, a failure. Nobody's buying my stapler. I'm just going to keep pushing the stapler. I'm going to post about it. I'm going to talk about it. And your potential clients and customers want a sandwich. They don't want a staple. They don't want a
Yeah.
stapler.
Yeah. They
And we
want
have to
authentic.
listen to it, you know. Okay, I'm
Mhm.
going to find out that lady's name on here. Okay, and then I have to go because I've got
Yeah.
a client coming up in a little bit. What was okay? So, the Matrix.
But I still want to do the actual conversation too, as far as us doing on the podcast about that, because I mean, we talked about so many things
The
in our
Oracle. The Oracle.
yes, the Oracle.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's
And
Gloria Foster. She is an actress. She's
give
a
me just one
Scorpio.
give me just 1 second. My mother is calling.
Oh yeah.
Hold on. Yes. I'm coming because I'm doing something wrong. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Yeah. So her name was Gloria Foster. She did pass away in 2001,
Oh wow.
but she was born in 1933, November 15th.
And the Matrix was actually written by a black woman, so that was really amazing.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes, it was.
It was. But I am looking forward to doing this conversation with you because
Yes.
it was really a good conversation.
Oh, I would
And
love
not
to.
only that, it's also a great thing to really teach coaches too, because a lot of people, it's just about the money. Every time I watch somebody's webinar and seminar, I'm like, I still didn't learn anything. Because you want me to
Oh,
get that big old package and you
yeah.
want me to get that
Yeah.
that $2,500 package, but I'm like, you don't have a
Okay,
teaching
can
degree.
can 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 we have that conversation? I gotta write it down. Can we have that conversation on my podcast? On I have the Expert Authority Coach podcast. I would love to talk about how do we put that into a Um, well, pet peeve. We're gonna do a show about as coaches our pet peeves, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because
I love that.
the show is for entrepreneurs, right? And I've got a lot of my clients that are on on the show as well, but also fellow coaches and how we work, right? But not how we
Yeah.
just work in our thing, but also what we find that really the stuff that sticks for people and helps them, and then our own
Mhm.
journey. So as coaches, our pet peeves, and one of them is that fucking those webinars
There were the webinars that they want you
with
to
the
spend 25.
pitching, yeah, and you don't learn anything.
Not only that, nothing that I don't like is the fact that coaching does not get the respect as far as medically, as far as, being able to use, because if I don't understand why coaching wouldn't be incorporated in the medical field, because I think it should. Because I think that therapists and coaches can work together, because coaches can basically be the one that takes everything the therapist is saying and making them actually apply to what it is they're doing, because that's the problem. You can go in there and talk all day, all they're doing is giving you medication, because I've been through that. But when I started actually doing the actions, I think that's where a coach comes in. So I think it's important that therapists and counselors and mentors can all and coaches can work together. And I feel like they should incorporate that into the medical field, to where, insurance pays for
Yeah,
them to be able to go and see a coach. Because like I said, you can have a coach and a therapist in the same building, and they can work together and help, clients out. And it should be another curriculum, which I think is important. So yeah, we should definitely,
we got to change
absolutely.
it. We got to change the world. All right. So you will you send me your booking link? Do you send me a link to
Yeah,
for the recording, and then I'll hit reply, and then I'll send you a link for mine to just fill out the guest form and the date and time.
that would be perfect. I
Okay.
thank you so much for doing this with me.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, my
And
love.
you have a very beautiful day.
You too. I'll see you soon. Send me that
Okay.
info and then I'll send you my link too.
Okay. I'll do it as soon as I get done with my mom.
Okay. All right. Bye bye.
Bye.